'82, I was 17, my old man was 55. If you do the math between the two of us, that's 72 years alive. An eternity, so it seemed to me. How could anything live that long? Now I say my folks were only 84 the year that they passed on. For a little while it seems you got time to choose your dreams. Pretty soon you look around and you see 100 years ain't what it used to be. And my grandpa Roy, when he was a boy in 1904, he was taught by men who fought in the actual Civil War. And only 8 decades passed and my high school class put the tassels on the other side. Started on our way full of naivete on the great American ride. The months and years slide past, each more quickly than the last. Pretty soon you look around and you'll see 100 years ain't what it used to be. Oh, Johnny!
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, Johnny, hey! Oh, yeah!
Did the guitar face.
Ibuprofen's under buy again in my online shopping cart. Every week I learn of something else I should be doing for my heart. If I use the wrong pillow, I might have trouble getting out of bed. My hair grows in my ears and nose now more than on my head. As a kid, to me, ancient history was something like World War I. But I arrived close to that time and this year as I sing this song. And I'm starting to find I can wrap my mind around life is brief and dear. I can hardly believe my baby girl's turned 26 this year. Oh, a little while it seems you got time to choose your dreams. Pretty soon you look around and you'll see everybody. 100 years ain't what it used to be. Before you know it, you're 63, making plans for Medicare A and B. You look around yourself and you see 100 years ain't what it used to be.
Stores.
You know something about it, Joe.
Fratelloni's Hardware and Garden Stores brings you Garage Logic Podcast number 1465, January 17, 2025. 44 degrees was the record high on this day. I'd have to look. I bet that's the lowest record high of the year, 44 degrees, and that was in 1894. And it was 26 below, and we got up on the morning of 1967.
Hail the Flashlight King.
And now, from the mayor's office above the boathouse on the east shore of Spoon Lake, it's Garage Logic with Chris Reavers manning Technology Corner, Kenny Olson from the Krabby Coffee Shop, John Haidt in the newsroom, and of course, the Rookie. Here is your Flashlight King, Fireworks Commissioner, and the Keeper of Common Sense, your Mayor, Joe Souchere.
It's time to announce.
Wait! You gotta have this properly set up, Joe.
Well, you're the one that gave it to me.
I know.
It's time to announce our first ever GLer of the week.
Okay. And the winner is?
And her name is
Did not expect that.
Bernadette Halverson of New Hope, Minnesota.
Look at this graphic up here.
Look at this.
Wow.
Bernie. They call you Bernie, Bernadette?
Where do we steal that from?
Bernadette has been a town council member almost from the beginning, October of 2022, so it's only fitting she's our GLer of the week, and along with our warmest personal regards.
Yes.
Bernadette will be getting a $50 gift box from our friends at Masters Maples.
Ooh.
So she's getting the syrups and the seasoning and the whole deal. You can be like Bernadette. Join the Garage Logic Town Council for your chance to be the GLer of the week.
That's right.
You can win stuff and you don't even have to do anything.
And if you're already a town council member,
that's what
all
I
you
do.
have to make sure that you do is you update your list to an annual town council membership, and you can do that at garagelogic.com. Also, don't forget, all you new town council members will get a $10 Fratelloni's Hardware and Garden Stores gift certificate.
Thanks, Bernadette. Thanks for listening, and thanks for being a town council member.
And if you're watching on YouTube, go ahead and smash that like button, y'all.
John Hastings here's a quick story on the reach of GL. A little while back, I did a favor for an old college buddy involving a bottle of bourbon. He then invited me out to his new house in Ranchester, Wyoming. So I had a day off in Billings, Montana. I rented a car and drove a few hours south into Wyoming. I met him in the driveway as he was plowing the new snowfall in his skid steer. It was a beautiful sight at the base of the mountains. He showed me his beautiful home, and then we needed to get lunch. Into the garage we went to climb into his ranch truck, and that's where I saw it. Hanging in the garage where it belonged, proudly on display, was his GL flag. It's been over 20 years since we were in college together, and looking at that flag in his garage, I knew he was still one of the guy. I learned a few things that day. Number one, don't underestimate the reach of GL. And number two, great things come from a bottle of bourbon. Keep up the good work, guys. JJ. Isn't that nice? We got to do something about these flags because people want them.
I wish I knew what bourbon it was.
The flags are expensive, aren't they? Okay,
Well,
LA.
they're high quality, though. They're not just, this isn't these dollar store flags.
A day off in Billings sounds like a Hold Steady song, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it does.
LA residents are blaming and suing Big Oil for climate change and causing the LA fires. This is from Jim, and I've followed up with his email and verified all this. It's true. And he notes correctly, if you thought LA residents would vote red as a result of the fire, it ain't going to happen. They're suing everybody in sight. They're suing Big Oil, all of whom these people involved in the lawsuit, including the attorneys, obviously have cars. They're suing the, what is it?
So did the executives of Big Oil get out there and start torching California?
They did. They dumped a lot of oil
Got it.
on the
Okay.
ground.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, do I sound good today? Hello, folks.
Pacific Palisades residents sue the Los Angeles Department of Water and Power. There might be some ground to be mined there. There's no grounds for suing Big Oil. All of you hypocrites use oil in every possible commodity you can imagine. The least of the most of which is your automobile, but the least of which might be the soles of your shoes
Or red M&Ms.
So the problem is that nothing could have been done to mitigate this fire except a better preparation for it.
Okay.
That was what was missing. That's why you might have some ground to gain suing the city's various departments. They had empty reservoirs, trucks that weren't ready. They didn't pre-position anything. They haven't cleared the brush. And fires have a long, millennial history of burning through that area, and there's nothing to be made of trying to blame oil for it. That's not why it happened. That's utter nonsense. But we're surrounded by utter nonsense, so what are you going to do?
Joe, you can't argue with a narrative, and they're not interested in facts, so no. So it's Big Oil to blame.
Well, we got another fire in L.A., boys. Moss Landing, California. It's about 70 miles south of San Francisco.
My next question.
And it's along Highway 1. I bet it's scenic and beautiful. Hundreds of people have been ordered to evacuate, and part of Highway 1 in Northern California is closed. A major fire erupted yesterday afternoon at one of the world's largest battery storage plants. As the fire sent up towering flames and black smoke and showed no sign of easing by Thursday evening, about 1,500 people were instructed to leave Moss Landing in the Elkhorn Slough area. This is according to the San Jose Mercury News. The Moss Landing power plant, located 77 miles south of Frisco, is owned by Texas company Vistra Energy and contains tens of thousands of lithium batteries. Wow, those are hard fires to put out. The batteries are important for storing electricity from such renewable energy sources as solar energy, but if they go up in flames, the blazes can be extremely difficult to put out. There's no way to sugarcoat this. This is a disaster. Monterey County Supervisor Glenn Church told KSBW-TV. But he did say he did not expect the fire to spread beyond the concrete building it was enclosed in. There were fires at the Vistra plant in 2021 and 2022 that were caused by a fire sprinkler system malfunction and that resulted in some units overheating, according to the Mercury News. It was unclear what caused this fire. Vistra said that after it was detected, everyone at the site was evacuated safely. After the fire is out, an investigation will begin. So I would imagine the firefighters are wearing all the hazmat outfits they can come up with, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Our top priority is the safety of the community and our personnel, said Vistra. And Vistra deeply appreciates the continued assistance of our local emergency responders. North Monterey Unified School District announced that all schools and offices would be closed today due to the fire. So how much trouble, I wonder, do we cause ourselves trying to fantasize about climate change? Because it's just a fantasy that these not very wise political class that we've acquiesced to and allowed to have become the political spokesman of the people. How much damage, very serious question, how much damage has been caused to the earth by their climate change aspirations? Look at this weed we came up with the other day in Topanga Canyon, the Beaumont milkvitch, right? And in order to preserve this apparently rare shrub, all brush clearing was halted. Well, how did that work out for you? How much of the fire might have been mitigated by a brush cleanup? You think the milk vetch would have had a better chance with brush cleanup than it did with you morons leaving it alone and not cleaning the brush?
Yes, for sure.
How much damage are we doing? How much land are we going to use up for solar panels that can't be recycled and can't break down in the earth because of their composition? How much damage are we doing to the earth mining for precious minerals to power electric cars that still need electricity? How much damage are we going to allow these idiots to continue to bring about?
Well, why aren't they called out on it? If that's a fact.
Well, because we do. So we call them out. We don't get anywhere calling them out. Speaking of that, I have a great email.
No, they fight back the calling out. They tell us to mind our own business and that you can't use ocean water, and it's actually the fault of big oil, and on and on and on. So if you are bold enough to call them out, Matthew, you get shouted down immediately.
Okay.
But two things. One, you have the definition of insanity taking place here.
Right, yeah.
The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. That's kind of my golf game. That would be the definition of insanity. And here you're going to see it in L.A., building and rebuilding in the canyons of California or in hurricane zones of the U.S. coasts is a case study in insanity. Clean up the mess, rebuild in the same spot, and expect a different outcome. That's insanity. Now, I remember yesterday I said, we need a tax revolt in the state of Minnesota. And I said, it can't be 1,200 people who meet at the Capitol. It's going to be 600,000 people minimum.
Okay.
That's the number I put on it.
That's the number you got out.
Well, Carolyn writes me and says, the more I watch you guys, the more I study the American experiment and Alpha News, the more ticked off I get. Since you guys are already in the public eye, what are your thoughts on getting a rally or protest together so we, the people, as you spoke, 600,000 of us, can do something about this? Talking about it does not solve anything. I am a great organizer and a smart woman who can help in any way needed. Please let me know what you guys think. I can't do it alone, and I don't know where to begin. But as I said, it's not going to go away by just talking about it. It's time for Minnesotans to stand up. I'm not sure you could get 600,000 Minnesotans to complain about their taxes. I'm just not sure.
I'm really interested if that happened, if we did that, we organized, and let's say we just got 100,000, and I think that would be a generous number. How would that be portrayed in the area's newspapers and TV stations? It would be portrayed as right-wing nut jobs.
Right, exactly.
John, you had something. John.
Oh, John.
I did have something. The first story you did there, the lawsuit.
Yeah.
And this is probably worse. That lawsuit not coming from residents of the state. They held a conference call saying, yes, big oil should be responsible for paying for all the damages.
Right.
But they're not filing a lawsuit. However, in 2023, the state of California, the attorney general there, brought that lawsuit against the big oil company,
right,
saying the same thing.
When I was looking up the current one, I noticed that it has precedent in California.
Yeah. You know who's part of that 2023 lawsuit?
I'm sure Gavin.
11 different attorney generals, including
Keith Ellison.
Kamala Harris.
No, Kamala Harris wasn't an
Now let
attorney
John
general
finish
then,
his
Chris.
point. Keith Ellison.
Keith Ellison, yes.
Joe, my
Who
motorcycle.
drove to work today, if in fact he works on Fridays.
My motorcycle tipped over, the gas spilled out of the gas tank, and I dropped a cigarette on the ground, and the next thing you know, my house burned down. So I'm going to sue, of course, the company that provided the gasoline. It's their fault.
No, you sue Big Tobacco.
Wait a minute.
Right.
Couldn't I go after both of them?
Yeah, you could. You got
Big tobacco, big oil.
Yeah,
it's not my fault.
No, it's not. You're a victim of gasoline, and you're a victim of
tobacco.
Yeah. Yes, you in the back.
I thought Harris was a DA. Is that not accurate?
Yeah, but she hasn't been for a long time.
The 2023 was in the suit was filed.
Okay, I'm sorry.
So she was vice president then.
Gotcha. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Sorry.
Well, you should be, Chris, and we accept your apology.
Okay, if you're offended.
Yeah.
I don't really know if I do.
There's so much on the mayor's desk
A
today.
lot on the plate. The proverbial plate.
What does that shirt say?
Mm.
No, there's a logo on it. Legendary?
Yeah.
Is that a shacket?
No, this is just a pullover.
I see.
I wore the shacket yesterday.
No, it's a cardigan, but thanks for asking.
I got a lot of comments on my shacket yesterday.
Cold weather's supposed to roll in, huh?
Yeah,
How
there's-
cold is it?
Very.
You know, I guess it comes with age, but I am amused at these current crop of meteorologists who think 6 below is cold.
It's not that cold.
In the 70s, 25 below was not uncommon at all.
But do you know what is
It
funny?
still could be what?
When you travel to a warm weather destination this time of the year and watching them react to it might dip into the 30s tonight. Make sure you cover
Bring
your
in-
plants.
yeah, bring in the pets.
Bring in the pets.
What's even better is if it gets to 60, watch them bundle up.
Right.
You know.
It's the constant hectoring over the windshield that makes me insane with rage. I do not personally acknowledge the wind chill. The wind chill can go straight to hell. No offense, but the wind chill is a stupid bleep hole.
This is very troubling. And I'm not in a troubled mood. I'm
Really? I haven't detected that yet.
Kids went to school this morning.
Yes.
I can attest.
And this emailer, who would prefer anonymity, sent me what was on his computer screen as a teacher at a public Minnesota special education school.
Okay.
All right. So he writes, Joe, I don't know what to do with this information I just received and could use your wisdom and guidance. I'd like to keep everyone anonymous at this point, but this was on the curriculum today at a public Minnesota special education school. Please see the attached photo. Thanks. I won't say his name. And here it is. I'm looking at his picture of his computer screen. There's and it's apparently they're studying words. And it says, words to know. What is racism? There's a picture of a young black female pictured, just no pose or anything, just a black kid. And the following definition is, racism is when people treat other people badly because of the color of their skin. They believe that white skin color means they are better people than people of color who have black, brown, or tan skin tones. So that's the message you're going to inflict on these vulnerable, gullible young children, regardless of what skin color they have. You're going to tell those kids in whatever school this is this morning, one of the words they're supposed to know in their crackerjack application of studying English, I guess, is what is racism? Racism is when people treat other people badly because of the color of their skin. They believe that white skin color means they are better people than people of color who have black, brown, or tan skin tones. I don't know what wisdom or guidance I can offer this fellow, except if I was him, I would not use that in class. I would say, bleep this.
Yeah.
I'm not exposing the children I have responsibility for this morning. I'm not exposing this to this BS. That's the only guidance I could offer him.
Yeah. I'm a white guy. I don't know if you know that.
I didn't know that.
But there's a lot of black people out there.
Really?
A whole bunch of them that are a lot smarter than I am.
That's no shit.
Yeah.
No kidding.
That's right up the alley.
Yeah.
Right up the alley.
No kidding, I meant
Boom.
to say.
Yeah.
Well, I just became unplugged.
Well, plug yourself
You know
back
what that
in.
was? Karma.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fun Friday.
Yeah.
Can't
No,
hear.
Matt,
Fun
we
Friday.
don't do that.
I thought you didn't have your earphones on.
We're working blue today.
Isn't that terrible? Isn't that a sad situation?
It is, and that is where a teacher should take a stand. And you're right. Say, this
I'm
is
not going to
stupid.
tell you this. I
Right.
wouldn't even mention. I just move on and come up. Presumably, they had more than one word to know today.
Replace that with treat everybody as you want to be treated. Kindness. That should be the
You
new
got
word.
MLK Day coming up.
Yes.
That's Blue Monday.
I mean, the content of our character.
Now, Blue Monday is the worst day of the year. Unfortunately, it arrives on MLK Day this year.
Yeah.
MLK Day, I don't know how it's determined where MLK Day falls, but it's a federal holiday.
Third Monday?
And it's Monday, which is also the day of the inauguration, which is also a day of forecasted cold, the likes of which haven't been seen in Washington, D.C. in more than 40 years. So now there's a great urging of the powers that be to move the inauguration indoors for two reasons. One, the cold, and two, safety. So I don't know where the inauguration will be held on MLK Day. That's Monday. Unfortunately, as I say, it's also Blue Monday.
How about Mar-a-Lago?
I
we
think-
host it there.
Yeah, I wouldn't. Nothing that he would do I would put past him. He might just say, "Look, I'm having this down here. It's warm.
I'm
and-
going to charge admission.
Yeah,
You know, at first
I'll sell you a watch."
Waters are $10 a piece.
Got a Bible. Got some guitars for you too.
And a pillow. We can buy a pillow.
Yeah, a few pairs of
Blankets.
tennis shoes left.
You could see it. It's almost set up like the state fair. Booths and
Yeah,
whatnot.
you're walking in. There's kiosks. you
No,
know.
everybody gets a My Pillow. Everybody who walks in.
yes.
We got to move these pillows.
And quick before he goes out of business.
Well, it might be too late.
I thought at first that it was a lame move that they were going to put it inside, but now I think it's a smart move just so there's no knuckleheads, no stupidity, and they can have a closer, tight security.
These wussies can't take our weather. Come on.
Right, they're using cold as an excuse. That's BS.
Buffalo hosts Baltimore in the semifinals of the conference championship. 5:30 Sunday in Buffalo. Mm-hmm. She could be 20 below.
It might be a bit chilly.
You're not going, are
What's
you?
your route?
God, no.
What are you taking out there?
No.
What are you
We
taking
got our
east?
game in already, and it was 50 and some rain. We
South
lucked out.
Dakota, I want to tell you, it's very timely to know. South Dakota is one of the most business-friendly states in the country. Possibly no better place to settle down and take advantage of incentives than Sioux Falls. It's got 290,000 people. They have all the amenities you want in a metropolitan area, except the streets are safe and things work and the commutes aren't that much of a hassle. But best of all, no state corporate or personal income tax, no inheritance tax, and no limits to what your business can achieve. Here, on the other hand, 49th worst state for entrepreneurs, Minnesota. I'll miss you, but it's a podcast. You can take us with you and achieve tax friendliness, a hardworking group of employees, just a great state. And really, you got to remember, it's the best state maybe in the country for doing business with those tax situations. It's one of the best small cities for Gen Z workers, one of the best places to raise a family, the fastest growing Midwest metro. Entrepreneurs welcome. Find out everything you want to know about Sioux Falls, South Dakota at their website. It's one word, Sioux Falls Development, siouxfallsdevelopment.com.
Here's a guy that lost his mouse.
Oh, I got it. It's right here.
Where is his mouse?
It's the end of the world
You're
as we
cutting
know
it.
it.
It's cutting
And he
those
feels
pretty
fine.
short.
Joe Souchere.
You know why?
I don't.
Because you asked them to.
Oh. Here's
Chris Reavers for Hofferman Water in Connecticut. You know, if you're thinking about making that switch, and I know some of you are, your first step to get in touch with my friends is to get on that schedule at Hofferman Water in Connecticut. You got to get on that schedule and have them come out to give you that free water analysis. They're also going to give you that water score, which tells you just how god-awful your water is. You do that one of two ways. Dial them up at 612-895-2440, or you can visit their website, which is hoffermanwater.com. And when you go on that website, you can see every single water treatment system that they have to offer, and it doesn't matter what you might be in the market for. Maybe you're just looking for a brand new drinking water system, which I highly recommend. They can do that. Or maybe you want to upgrade with a brand new water softener. They can do that too. An iron rust and odor filtration system, all of that is available at their website, which is hoffermanwater.com. A brand new system from Connecticut can do so many things that other water softeners just simply cannot do. It's going to cut down on your salt usage, but it's also going to protect your appliances inside of your home. Listen, it's your number one investment. Take care of it. Get in touch with my friends at Hofferman Water today, and your laundry becomes better, your showers, your cooking, your drinking water, everything gets better with Hofferman Water and Connecticut. 612-895-2440 or hoffermanwater.com. Hofferman Water has been proudly serving the state of Minnesota for over 50 years. Please do me a favor and mention that you heard about them on the Garage Logic podcast.
May I attempt, although I think I'll succeed, may I attempt to offer a summary in simple terms of what's taking place at the legislature at the Minnesota State Capitol?
Okay.
You may.
Proceed, Your Honor.
And it's an explanation intended to show just how much of a parallel universe the third rail lives on.
All right.
Right. The election was held, and we learned that it was 67-66 in favor of Republicans,
Correct.
with a contested seat in Roseville due to the fellow winning having it found out that he cheated.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't live in Roseville. He rented a studio apartment, did not live there. The DFL knew about this because Paul Wickstrom, the Republican candidate who lost to Curtis Johnson, knew about this in the summer. He knew in the summer
I can't believe they let it go that long.
that Johnson wasn't living at this studio apartment. Wickstrom had, by the way, he's been invited on the show, and his people haven't gotten back to us.
Well, I know he was not available today.
All right. Wickstrom was told by a very credible source in Roseville that, hey, that guy you're running against doesn't live in Roseville. He's rented a studio apartment, but
It's empty.
there's nothing there, and his cars are at home at night in Little Canada. He's not staying there. And then, to be sure, Wickstrom had some of his volunteers observe this, watch the place to make sure. Wickstrom didn't want to accuse him of this unless he was sure. So Wickstrom, he had videotape, he had logs, he had observers, and yes, it's true, Curtis Johnson did not live in Roseville. The only thing I think happened is that it was such a safe DFL seat that the DFL, who quite clearly knew that Curtis Johnson wasn't living in Roseville, they just let it ride because they figured, who in the hell will even know?
So much so, Joe, that the GOP candidate that was going against him let the world know a month before the election. Everybody knew before the election.
Paul Wickstrom, yeah. He knew, and he documented it,
But-
and he was careful.
I'm sorry. I guess you were. I thought you were referring to the guy that lost the primary to Johnson.
No. I'm talking about the election in November for the seat.
That guy, and I wish I could remember his name. The guy that lost in the primary, he also knew.
Oh.
He was out knocking on doors, which proves the DFL knew.
Okay, so the DFL knows this. They don't do anything about it. Wickstrom blows the whistle. And sure enough, it's acted upon. Well, this can't stand. There's your first change in reality from the regular life. There'll be an accommodation for this cheating on the third rail. The Democrats ran to the governor and said, harumph, you've got to help us. We've been caught.
Yeah.
Our guy who won cheated. He didn't. Okay, you get a new election then. Let's set it for January 28th. Okay. Third rail life. You know, the stock car race, the second guy wins, but this is not real life. So, January 14th comes along just this week, this past Tuesday, and it's the day to be seated and sworn in. The Democrats chose to stage some sort of theatrical nonsense where over last weekend they got sworn in at the History Center. We still don't know why. It doesn't make any sense. The Republicans, all 67 of them, showed up Tuesday, sat down, got sworn in, ready to work. The Democrats said, well, this can't be. We're terrified that you'll have control. Right. We're absolutely terrified that you evil, crude Republicans are going to have the power in this House. We have to have power sharing.
You don't know what you're doing. Right.
Because they're going to assume that a Democrat will win this seat in Roseville on January 28th, which makes them 67-67. And the Democrats preemptively are saying, we need power sharing.
Right.
Well, but on the way to the game, their bus ran into a ditch and they didn't show up at the gym. They didn't show up at the gym. They didn't show up to play. They didn't show up to work. So therefore, the Republicans who were there, and it's quite reasonable to expect power sharing if you're split 67-67. Presumably that would have been worked out had the Democrats showed up for work. But not only didn't show up for work, it's life on the third rail. We're not only not showing up, we want to be paid, and we want our per diems, and we want the taxpayers to pay for all the lawsuits that we're going to file to get this straightened out, because we can't surrender our power. We've had it now for a long time. We're not letting go.
That is so accurate.
We want equality here. We want equity. We want the power sharing. The Republicans, to their character, are saying, "Yeah, well, you're not here to discuss it. What do you want to?" So they named Lisa Demuth the Speaker of the House.
Okay.
This causes Melissa Hartman to damn near need the Heimlich maneuver.
Yes,
she can't function now.
Very.
Oh my God, harumph, how could this be? And so they say, you can't do that. You don't have a quorum.
Right.
Okay, maybe they do, maybe they don't. Democrats continue to stay away from work, still not showing up. Presumably, they might not show up until January 28th or January 29th.
What's
when
your
we
number?
learn finally who legitimately won the seat to represent 40B, which is mostly Roseville.
Right.
They got a new guy running. Gottfried's a DFLer.
That's the guy I was referring to, Godfrey.
No, he's a DFLer.
Right.
And he's going to take Curtis Johnson's place on the ballot, and Paul Wickstrom's going to run against Curtis Gottfried. And the betting money says that it's such a I don't know how you people in Roseville can afford it, but it's such a DFL seat that we're presuming that Gottfried wins. All right. I hope he doesn't. The earth would move under our feet if Wickstrom run. But let's say he wins. Now you're 67-67, and now these louts might return to work. And what are they going to do? They're not going to be worried about your needs. They're not worried about the needs of the constituents. They're worried about power sharing. To which the Republicans can accurately respond, look, we've been here 2-3 weeks. Right. We're working. You haven't been here. So Lisa Demuth is the speaker. Well, we can't have that. That's not fair. That's not power sharing.
Just the way it is.
Well,
That's
where
true.
were you? Well, we're third rail people. We have our own rules and regulations. We don't have to be there.
Right.
We can do whatever we want because we have special rules and regulations. We're special. So all that can be forecasted for January 29th is a bleep show.
Well, it already is.
Right. It's going to be a full-fledged
A continuing run on.
bleep show with 67 people on one side of the aisle and 67 people on the other side of the aisle. And basically, what they'll be arguing about are their positions inside that building. They're not going to be worried about your water or your lights or your
Right.
electricity or the streets or plows or parks. No, that's not why they're there. They're
It
there
should
for
be.
they're there for their own agendas.
They're there for one reason.
Yes, they are. You're here for one reason, to bleep us.
Don't forget, though, before all of that happens, the Supreme Court will end up ruling also, so that could change the way things.
Right.
January 23rd, they have the hearing on from Simon and from Democrats, so
on
they
the
could rule.
on the Tabke seat,
No,
on the Wexstrom seat.
Yeah.
No, and on the
I mean,
the Republicans doing anything the first day.
oh yeah.
And they could get rid of Damuth if they wanted to, the
Yeah.
Supreme Court, depending on what they rule.
And you're paying for that. The taxpayers will pay for that lawsuit. And what the lawsuit is saying is that the Democrats immediately ran to the courts and said, well, the governor saved us with a special election because we're on the third rail. Now you, Supreme Court, you save us and get rid of this Lisa Damuth. That's unconscionable. We can't have a Republican Speaker of the House. Something might happen. Something might get done.
We've got to do something about this immediately.
There, that's my summary
What's your rant?
that I said
You were
last night.
fired up there.
Last night at the bar at the Knack Hardware and Lounge, a bunch of us were talking, and that's how I laid it out on the mahogany bar top.
Got it. And you were met with a lot of nods and, oh, yeah, you tell him, Such. Huh?
Well,
Come
I
on,
was
Mayor.
drinking a very good non-alcoholic beer.
Oh, I thought you were going to say a grape knee-high
No,
because you do have
no, I don't
radar.
like pop. I drink the other stuff.
I got you.
It was an IPA by Run Wild.
Ah,
Yeah,
finest.
that was good. It was good. I had two because I was diluting
Yeah,
myself.
you can have two, and you can drive them,
I was
too.
pretending.
Right.
I was pretending. No, I don't drive to the Knack. It's not far from the.
He's carried on a Egyptian-style
No,
throne.
no. I walked.
Oh, okay.
It was a pleasant walk. It was warm last night. I walked back down to the mayor's residence on the east shore of Spoon Lake and went in and read the paper that finally arrived. I get the evening papers.
Okay.
Most people get morning papers, but I don't. I get the paper.
Well, is that a
supposed to be there in the morning? I get it's an evening paper.
Is that a special deal you got? That's a
No,
nice
it's just the
setup.
morning papers finally get there.
Is the delivery person special?
No, not at all.
Okay.
Yeah. I did a bad thing. I don't think it's a bad thing.
Oh, boy. Confession Friday.
I did not respond to his Christmas card.
Yeah, you told us this.
I might have told you off the air.
Oh,
They leave, the paper guys, I don't blame them. Every year I do
They're
tip
fishing.
them.
They're fishing.
Yeah, of course they are, and I don't blame them, and they should. So every year I've sent the guy some money. But this year the paper started coming at noon or later.
It's going to cut into your performance, tip.
Sorry, pal.
Yep.
may I ask a question? We had a late night Viking playoff tilt on Monday night.
Mm-hmm.
What time did that Tuesday morning paper show up?
Well, by the time I left for the show, it wasn't there.
I bet you beat it home.
I did beat it home.
Okay.
I think I got there about
Yeah.
3 o'clock.
There we go. We know he's a Viking fan.
Yeah. So today I've been told that the CP took a call from the newspaper, saying you didn't pay. What's the deal? Well, we didn't pay because on the last bill I wrote a note on it that said you have to make me a better deal. Put that in the mail and mailed it to them. I wasn't paying this crap for what they do.
Okay.
So sure enough, they called and to make a long story short, she told them about our travails with the delivery for all I know, she's talking to somebody in India. I
Right.
don't know.
Apu.
Yeah. But the bottom line is we got the year's newspaper for a ridiculously low price. So it paid off to complain.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
Always pays off to complain for subscriptions. Always.
You can get them right down
Was
there.
this negotiation taking place between the CP and your newspaper, or the
Yes.
NMU
Yeah.
I've done the same with that
The one you're
newspaper,
employed by.
Joe.
I'm not. I'm a
crap.
I'm not a freelancer. I'm a freelancer. I'm not paid by the. We don't even have a building.
You
No,
know,
it's-
you can do that, John, with almost any bill you have.
Oh, sure. Yep.
I was trying to cancel a subscription to a car wash where I was paying about $50 a month for unlimited washes, and I was getting, and the service was really bad. My truck would come out dirty. So I wanted to go to a different car wash. So I called to cancel the service. They were trying to talk me down, Joe, from $50 a month down to $20 a month. And I kept saying, how is that going to improve the cleanliness of my truck?
Right.
I'm willing to pay $50 a month if I have a clean truck.
Do they hand dry it?
No, it's a blow dryer.
Oh.
No, my dispute, Joe, is at the beginning of the car wash. This last place I was at, they stopped washing it beforehand.
Kenny, that's the foreplay, car wash foreplay.
And well, actually, it is, Matthew, and that's because I live on a gravel road. I live on a gravel road. That makes a huge difference.
He did call it the car wash foreplay.
Well, the foreplay is where the kid stands at the back of it and squirts an anemic stream of water on it.
That's what it was, and that's why I wanted to quit. So I went to this new place, and oh my Lord, I'd pay him double what I'm paying now. It's so good.
Why don't you call him and tell him that?
Well, you do it for me.
Yes,
I think you're stupid to buy them by the month.
No, otherwise it's $20 per session.
Yeah, but you're only you don't need to wash it more than once a month.
Every time I go to Alec, three times a week at least.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's called
I just
travel, Joe.
think those washers are too hard on the paint.
Well, it's a 2016 with 165,000
Okay,
on
that's
it.
fine, but
I'm going
mine-
to drive it until it hits 1 million miles.
Okay, but mine isn't, and I think that I just get nervous about the paint.
You know what?
And it came out great.
Matthew, you're absolutely right. Yeah.
You are so effed up in the head.
Yeah.
No,
and
I'm
you
not.
always,
You can see the stripes.
Joe, you always
peeling off.
assume that we're you.
Joe, it's gonna peel the paint off of the Honda Pilot that's got a couple of rust spots, and it's just going to continue.
Ankle
That's what
vents.
you need to be worried about.
We call
have
that
to worry.
We call that erosion.
Erosion, yes.
Can I tell you one more thing before we break?
As long as you
Oh,
yell
look at the
it,
time.
yeah.
Better take a break and come back with Johnny.
Yes.
Here's
This guy wears many hats, just not indoors. Joe Souchere.
All right, real quick, quiz time. It's Joe and Rook going against each other. Guys,
Oh, yep.
As good citizens, what do we do for our daily drivers when we know an Arctic front is about to kick us in the collective swimsuit areas? How do we prep that vehicle?
Well, I like to keep a full tank, and I'll add a dollop of seafoam.
Well, Matthew, you lose, Matt.
Pretty much anything I could have said would not top that. So.
Well, you couldn't fill your tank because you only get it to halfway because above that it leaks.
Drains out of the driveway.
I can't. But the gasoline melts the ice underneath. So.
Underneath the car,
really.
yeah.
No.
So,
Not
all right.
when it's this cold.
Got it.
That was a pretty easy quiz. A fresh tank, a fresh dose. That's going to ensure that daily driver snaps to life when you use it, maybe this weekend or next week. One of the reasons Seafoam works so great for our fossil fuel-fired cylinders because, well, just frankly, and this is my opinion, this non-leaded gasoline isn't what it used to be. It's garbage. And Seafoam will prevent poor engine performance. It cleans, it lubricates, it preserves ignition vapors, everything we need when it's, 35 below windshield. And even better, it's available right there in that C-store, that gas station, auto parts, NAC hardware. It's everywhere. It's the worldwide Seafoam phenomena, a wonderful product in a world of bad gas. Our best friend, Seafoam.
Here's John Haidt.
Thank you, Joe. This news update brought to you by North American Banking Company. One quick sports note. Everything you need to know about Twins broadcast this summer has pretty much been out. Not everything, but close. First of all, there's a new name. It'll be called Twins.tv. Twins.tv.
Now, is this something the consumer will have to buy special?
You can, and we'll get to that in just a moment.
All right.
Corey,
Prepare to be very angry, Joe.
All right.
Corey Provis will handle Twins play-by-play for a 14th season, his second on television. There'll be a rotating cast of color commentators, as pretty much always. Justin Morneau will retain his role as the primary analyst. Fellow former Twins players LaTroy Hawkins, Glenn Perkins, Trevor Plouffe, and Denard Span returning to fill in on a regular basis. Not coming back, Roy Smalley.
My guy Smalls is retiring.
I hope to God this was his decision, because if it wasn't...
he's got more money than
I'm
God.
sure
He
it's
wasn't
his
doing it for
decision.
He wasn't doing it for the money.
But I always learned something when he was
I
on.
love when Roy does the games.
He's a good
Roy's
guy.
72, which surprised me, so I thought, good, yeah, if he wants to retire, let him. It's good timing.
I can't believe Roy Smalley is 72.
Yeah,
I can't believe that Roy Smalley retired before you did. That's what I can't believe.
It's one way to look at it.
Yeah.
Audra Martin will also continue in her role as on-field reporter. Twins games will be produced and distributed by MLB starting this spring. The plan is to air pre- and post-game shows as well, and longtime Twins Live hosts Katie Storm and Tim Laudner have been hired to keep those roles. The Twins do plan to announce further distribution plans, including a new standalone streaming option later this month. You also will be able to go to MLB and get... well, you won't because it's in market. Never mind. Ignore that part. But they will have a standalone streaming option for you to get the games. No cost or anything like that yet.
Okay, we got everything at home. Every streaming service under the sun, apparently. Does that mean I'll get the Twins?
From what I've seen, they haven't really announced what streaming options it'll be on. So,
what it's going to, GLers, what Joe's trying to ask is, how long of a summer is it going to be for me and John Haidt in relation to Joe being able to watch the ball game?
Yeah. Well, I'll
where the bleep is the game on?
I'll have to. I'll do something.
They'll announce it later. They said.
I'm glad that Audra Martin is returning because she has the most awesome, subtle Minnesota accent there is. Mm-hmm. You close your eyes and just listen to her talk, and it's really, it's
she
just awesome.
She can sing. She's a singer.
Yeah, she's also a singer, and she's pretty smart. But her accent is great.
Any news on the radio team, John?
I haven't seen anything yet, Chris. No.
Are they still on CCO?
Yeah.
In news,
who was the radio guy last year?
Atterbury.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
And Danny.
And Glenn.
Yeah.
In news, update to a story we had last week where the hazmat team, we talked about this, was called out to a residence in Brooklyn Park. According to the search warrant, officers were called to the home on the 6400 block of Zealand Avenue North on December 30th. A woman, as we told you back then, told police she thought her husband was poisoning her by putting ground-up castor beans in her food and drink. Well, the search warrant now says that police left the home and tested a drink she gave them and revealed it contained ricin. Ricin, of course, is a highly toxic protein considered a biological weapon. That became very famous after 2001, September 11th. Remember, people kept thinking or actually did get ricin in mail.
Yeah, a lot of envelopes.
Yep. On January 9th, police returned to the home with the Brooklyn Park SWAT team, and the FBI authorities arrested the husband, a 54-year-old man, on probable cause for attempted murder. The part of this new part of this story I haven't figured out yet. There may be charges pending, but the man has since been released without being charged. So it sounds like there'll be charges in the future, but they have not charged him yet. Star Tribune reporting Minnesota hospitals are leaning on triage systems created out of desperation during the peaks of the COVID-19 pandemic to weather the current surge of patients with influenza and other viral illnesses who are crowding emergency rooms. United Hospital in St. Paul, the latest to adopt a split flow approach last month, providing initial care to patients in its waiting room when its ER bays were full. More than 20 patients sat in waiting rooms this past Thursday, yesterday, but some already were getting fluids in the hallways intravenously, while others were awaiting results of blood tests. Hospitals reported little relief this week as Minnesota emerged from the holiday season. Things were very heavy after the holidays, a time, of course, when families and friends get together and spread germs. Thursday's weekly state update showed that flu-related hospitalizations had peaked in Minnesota at 877 in the first week in January, declined to 742 in the week ending January 11th. Another story that may not end ever. Opponents of that Division I basketball and hockey arena already far along in construction at the University of St. Thomas. Yeah, well, they've been asked again asked the Minnesota Court of Appeals for an injunction. They want to stop building permits issued by the city of St. Paul. The 68-page legal memorandum filed by neighborhood homeowners and attorney Daniel Kennedy calls the city's recently revised environmental assessment worksheet insufficient. The critics, under the name Advocates for Responsible Development, have demanded that work on the arena pause for an elaborate review known as the Environmental Impact Statement. Joe, I don't know if you've seen this story, but I think they took a page out of your book, out of your book, not the yearbook. You said they should have created some sort of environmental thing.
They need to find some milkvitch weed or something.
Well, we're close. They say part of the problem, you could run into potential mass poisonings from ice rink fumes to bee colonies. So that's kind of
wow. They really found one, huh?
Yeah, there you go.
That's ridiculous, but that's how you got to do it.
The Advocates for Responsible Development have filed multiple legal actions in an unsuccessful attempt to block construction over the past year. A man allegedly admitted to killing a federally protected wolf at his deer stand near Calumet, among other hunting violations. 63-year-old Stephen Pavick of Ceylon, Minnesota, reportedly told a conservation officer in November that he, quote, has his own opinion on wolves and simply wanted the animal out of there. The case, authorities said, was the result of information submitted to the Department of Natural Resources turned in poachers.
Some creep turned him in. Oh,
Correct. In national and international stories, the Israeli cabinet convening today to approve the Gaza hostage and ceasefire deal, which the smaller security cabinet has already approved. Approval by the full cabinet is the final hurdle before the deal can be implemented. Benjamin Netanyahu said during the meeting that he received guarantees from both the Biden administration and the Trump administration that if negotiations over the second phase of the ceasefire and hostage deal fail and Israel's security demands are not met, Israel would be able to resume the war in Gaza with U.S. backing. Under Israeli law, Palestinian prisoners can't be released from prison without a government vote and a 24-hour period for the public to appeal to the courts. That's why the deal, which involves the release of hundreds of Palestinian prisoners, can't immediately take effect after the cabinet vote. Joe, you talked about this earlier, and it's now official. President-elect Trump said he is moving his inauguration indoors on Monday due to freezing weather expected in Washington. The president-elect said he'll be sworn in and deliver his inauguration address inside the Capitol Rotunda. He wrote on Truth Social, the various dignitaries and guests will be brought into the Capitol. This will be a very beautiful experience for all, and especially for the large TV audience. A spokesperson for the Joint Congressional Committee on Inaugural Ceremonies said the committee is honoring Trump's request to move the ceremonies inside.
I think that's wise on a number of fronts.
Yeah. Supreme Court this morning unanimously upholding a federal law requiring TikTok's Chinese sellers to sell or shut down the social media app by January 19th, siding with Congress's national security concerns over the platform and its users' claim that the ban violates the First Amendment. The ruling means the platform could go dark, at least temporarily, on Sunday, depriving millions of teens and other TikTok users of their daily fix of short-form videos that keep them glued to their phones. President-elect Donald Trump and his allies are trying to find a political path forward to get rid of the security concerns and rescue the app. Biden administration officials have signaled they don't intend to enforce the ban before they leave office, but that hasn't been enough to give the company comfort. If it lost at the Supreme Court, TikTok has been planning to shut down the app in the U.S. to comply with the law and avoid exposing companies that sell or distribute the app to legal liability. It's also been exploring other maneuvers and talking with President-elect Trump.
TikTok CEO, is it Zhao Zichu?
Nailed it.
He's going to be at the inauguration. And Trump talked to Z recently, I think yesterday.
It's a beautiful call.
It was a very good one for both China and the USA. It is my expectation that we will solve many problems together, and starting immediately. We discuss balancing trade, fentanyl, TikTok, and many other subjects. President Xi and I will do everything possible to make the world a more peaceful and safe place.
All right.
The American Cancer Society's latest report reveals a significant shift in cancer trends. The overall cancer mortality rate in the U.S. fell by 34% from 1991 to 2022, preventing, according to the experts, about 4.5 million deaths. However, cancer rates are rising among women and younger adults, with women under 50 now having cancer rates 82% higher than men, up from 51% in 2002. Lots of space news today. Jeff Bezos-owned Blue Origin successfully launched its New Glenn rocket into orbit early Thursday on its first attempt 25 years after the Amazon founder started the space company. The 320-foot rocket's payload, Blue Ring, is a spacecraft designed to move satellites to different orbits. Elsewhere in space, SpaceX suspects a fire may have caused its Starship to break apart during liftoff and send trails of flaming debris near the Caribbean. SpaceX's Elon Musk said preliminary indications are that leaking fuel built up pressure in the cavity above the engine firewall. The resulting fire would have doomed the spacecraft. Today, the company promised a thorough investigation in coordination with the FAA.
You know, I keep imagining billionaires that only have like $1 billion or maybe $2 billion. And they look at Bezos and Musk and say, man, I wish I had that kind of money. Because they can't even come close to launching their own space program.
I suppose.
Did you hear that, though? Much like Rookie, he had a fuel leak on his rocket.
Yeah.
Yeah, the good thing that didn't blow up in your driveway, huh?
Yeah.
It was close.
It was close.
And one more space story. NASA astronaut Sunita Williams returned to spacewalking after a 12-year break, stepping outside the ISS, International Space Station, alongside astronaut Nick Hague for U.S. Spacewalk 91. The mission focused on performing vital maintenance and upgrades on the ISS. Remember, they were supposed to come back here a long time ago. The return has been delayed until March of this year, so hopefully by March they'll be back here. They were supposed to be there 8 days. It's going to end up being over a year.
Is she pregnant? Not by now?
No.
Probably. Huh?
Do you have real or satire available, or does that take a long time to get ready? I just want to give the listeners something to.
Do we have a soundbite for that?
I don't think so.
I want to give the real.
I don't think we do.
We
Chris.
do. We have.
Is this real or satire?
Something to think about as we await Patrick. But I wanted you to hear this. Is this real or satire?
Yeah, you don't do
that
it as well.
city councilor filing a complaint with Worcester's Office of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion, and they're taking a month-long break. They say it's for emotional and mental safety. Worcester City Councilor at Large Tu Nguyen taking a month-long mental health break, accusing the mayor and council of a toxic culture. Nguyen uses the pronouns they, them, and says it's not safe to show up to meetings in person.
I really, really wished I felt safe enough to show up on the council floor, but I don't.
Last night, when talking about remote participation, Nguyen accused the mayor and another councilor, Kathleen Toomey, of using the wrong pronouns. Nguyen also says Councilor Candy Merrow Carlson repeatedly called them it.
I have faced transphobia with being misgendered and recently learned that I have been dehumanized to a point where I'm being referred to as it by my colleagues on this council.
Councillor Toomey says early on when the councillor was elected, I did make an honest error in addressing the councillor and may have done so a few times, for which I apologized. There has never been any intentional or consistent misgendering. I have been mindful to address the councillor respectfully in the manner in which they identify over the past 3 years.
I have spoken with city staff who've confirmed that Councillor Nguyen was referred to as an it by a councillor.
Councillor Christian King troubled by what he's heard.
I condemn and disavow any sort of political hostility based on someone's being.
Real or satire?
Going.
Now, Norm, we're running out of time, but I would be remiss here if I didn't bring up something. People have been bothering me about this for months and months. People come on the show and they say, the next time you see Norm Macdonald, he's got some tremendous stories about the great Bob Uecker. Now, do you have a story you can tell us about Bob Uecker? Voice of the Milwaukee Brewers.
Well, Bob Uecker is one of my best friends. He's a great man. I know Artie told a story when he was here, and Bob was not too thrilled with that. But
it's Artie Lang you're talking about.
Artie Lang, yeah. But Bob is a very, very funny man, and I often go in the booth with him, you know.
Oh, sure.
So one time we were there, and John Fogerty was in the audience.
Mm-hmm.
You know, a fortunate son, you know. So John Fogerty was there, so Bob Uecker is a very interesting guy. He thinks of everybody as the same. He doesn't think of people as stars or anything like that. He's a very down-to-earth guy. So he was talking to me, and he says, "Hey, man, you know that guy?" I go, "Yeah." He goes, "That's John Fogerty, rock and roll singer." So I go, yeah, I know who it is. He goes, "Yeah, man." He goes, "But I played in a golf tournament with him." He goes, "You probably think of him as some that likes to bite the heads off of chickens, but this guy can..."
That's exactly how I think of him.
This guy can get it out of the sand trap like nobody's. So he goes, he's got a hell of a set of pipes on him. He goes, come the 7th inning stretch, I'll have him up here. He'll sing for you. So I said, no, Bob, don't do that. Like, don't have him come up and sing for me, please, you know. He goes, what's matter, man? Don't you even know who he is? You get all mad. So I go, yes, Bob, I know who he is. He did Creedence Clearwater Revival.
Yeah.
He goes, yeah, he did all that.
You couldn't talk without using the old F-bomb.
No, he and the man, how he managed not to use it on the air is rather unbelievable. But I think to sit in the booth for a half inning when Norm Macdonald was his guest would have been worth the price of admission.
Oh yeah,
there's a couple of Uecker was like Hollywood and everything, but I don't think he was terribly aware of current culture, you know.
He's a rock and roll singer.
Apparently, you could do the play-by-play, but then also do his side commentary. He'd kill his mic and tell you what he was looking at in the stands, and then turn his mic back on.
Yeah, he was an expert at that, and he was in spring training, particularly in Sun City and stuff like that. I think he might have had some comments about the age of the crowd that would not have been too appropriate then. But he was quite the character, and it's funny his aspirations were being on Carson and that stupid sitcom he was on, and a couple other things.
Mr. Belvedere.
He didn't have to. I must admit, I never watched one episode of Mr. Belvedere.
You didn't miss much.
Yeah.
But he didn't need, you know. George tried like hell to hire him, and he didn't stay in Milwaukee. So, I was a friend of Gonring, who covered the Brewers, and Gonring was a friend of Uecker. So there were a few cocktails on occasion when we ran across each other.
Mm-hmm.
It was always fun. Yeah,
Uecker said at the Hall of Fame induction for broadcasting that he was surprised to learn that he had a family.
The story is Hardrecord said it, that they came to Uecker and said, you only get 10 minutes, and he said, I need 20 for the speak. But you got all these, 60-year-old ball players who come every year, and they hate the long speeches. And I guess he had them rolling in the aisles. I wasn't there that year, but I watched about 5 minutes of it this morning. It's posted in the column I wrote. We have it embedded in the online, the 20-minute speech, and I thought Molly's quote was pretty good. Molly says that he had the gift of not having to work to be funny. He was just comical. He was just comical. So it was easy for him to just be terribly irreverent. So,
is it true too, Pat, that his Hall of Fame speech, he didn't write a single word down? Everything was off the top of his head.
He looked at some notes. But I don't think it was he wrote the whole thing down. I'm sure he reminded himself of what joke he wanted to tell or something like that.
I suppose I could look it up.
Joe, one thing I saw today was that he was showing pictures of Johnny Carson. He was young when he was doing this, showing pictures of his baseball career, Johnny Carson, and then making quips about it. But he showed the picture of the Cardinals team photo.
Yeah, he's holding hands with Gibson.
Him and Gibby holding hands lovingly, like they were a gay couple or something, and they both got fined.
Right.
Because the Cardinals were very upset.
It's printed somewhere, but how many times was he on Carson? I mean, he was on there a lot.
Did I see 100?
Maybe 100.
Yeah, over 100.
Over 100 times.
Yeah.
What, number one all time, was he?
Carson once said to him, he only batted 143 last year, and he said, I was just screwing around. Went out to the mound to visit Gibson, and Gibson said, what are you doing here? He said, I'm on my way to talk to Kurt Flood in center field.
Yeah, he was. He had a good time.
We have not chatted since the Vikings loss.
The debacle?
Yeah. I was wondering if Darnold cost himself about $100 million in the last 2 games.
I would say at least.
Yeah.
I would say at least. He probably was going to get 150 from somebody, and I think he'll get 20 if he's lucky.
Mm-hmm.
Here's what I couldn't figure out, Joe. You're 8 yards in the pocket, and there's 3 guys there about to kill you. You don't run 7 yards backwards and make it 15, do you? You just kind of take the lump or throw it away, one of the two.
Right.
I don't know what he was doing. I think he lost his mind. He was just, I mean, the rush was fierce, but throw it away. Don't hold it. Don't run backwards, for goodness sakes. I don't know what was going on with him. But,
what's even going to be worse is that I think Philadelphia will make the Rams look bad. Don't they play Philly?
Their defense is really good. I don't think Philly's offense is really good, though, so it could be closer, because I'm not a big Jalen Hurts fan, and I don't think Philly. I mean, they got Saquon Barkley, and he'll carry the ball 30 times, but it will be a low-scoring contest, I'll bet you.
I'm hoping for bad weather.
Matthew Stafford will not have as easy a day as he did against our boys. That's for sure.
Well, Pat, it was just it was just a collapse. I didn't anticipate it, but it was just. I do think the game might have changed with that one dreadful call where the Vikings clearly recovered a fumble and scored. That would have tied the game. That might have changed the nature of the game, but that was a horrible call.
I think the nature of the game, it would have. It would have, it would have been close. And then you wouldn't have had our coach trying to run out the clock when he was 18 points behind. If you were only, if you're only 11 behind, maybe he would have actually tried instead of run out the clock. What the hell were they doing, Joe?
I don't know.
They were going back in the huddle. They were telling jokes to each other, talking about the family for about 30 seconds, then coming up to the line. What in God's name are you doing? There have been miracle victories. You got to try, don't you?
Yes, you do.
I don't understand you two, though. After the loss to the Lions, you still predicted a Viking win.
We did sound a bit like Sid, didn't we?
Yeah, you both did. I'm ashamed of you.
Well, the only reason I picked 31-9 was that was the score in the Detroit game, so I thought it'd be funny. But I thought they were going to win. I thought they were going to win, but you know what? Kenny, you know how long it took me to change my mind? About 6-7 minutes, maybe. Unbelievable. I'll tell you, though, the highlight of my night, I was at the bar up in the Lookout Bar up in Maple Grove. It's in the middle of the neighborhood, and I'd been there once before, 7-8 years, full of Viking fans. And the guy was complaining, the owner was complaining because it was Monday night, and he only had 100 people in there instead of 400, which he would have had if it was a Saturday or Sunday game, because they got people that work there, So he's saying, he said, not even the guys from the pit of misery are here. And I said, what? And he said, yeah, they sit down there at the end of the bar, about 30 or 40 of them, and they come to every week, and they say it's the pit of misery watching Viking games. And I said, oh, my God, I know what the last graph is. Now all I got to do is get there, the pit of misery. I couldn't believe my good fortune. I almost walked out without knowing there was a pit of misery.
Do they keep Darnold? I think they do.
No, God.
You don't think so?
Nope.
No, God almighty. They won't even give him a ham sandwich.
Well, is McCarthy ready?
You'll find out.
Physically, is he
well,
healed?
They got the guy from the Giants, Daniel Jones. They can go that route too, as him, because they don't have to pay him, because the Giants are paying him a fortune for after they let him go.
So never mind all the games they won this year. He's gone.
Yep.
Okay.
Oh God, yes. I think
Okay.
he's gone. I mean, he's it's like somebody saying, I only robbed one bank. I mean, what the hell you mad at me for? I'd say to that, I've been a good citizen, a good worker. I just went in there with a gun once, So,
Hey, Pat.
Yeah, I don't think that performance can be forgiven. I really don't.
Pat, the Gophers beat Michigan on a last-second three-pointer.
Yes, it was. I forgot they were playing.
I did too.
I picked up the paper this morning and said, "My God, they won a game!"
Yeah,
and I guess about 100 people rushed the court too. So, but it wasn't a full court storming. But I guess
Michigan was rated number 20 in the country.
I know they've been playing really good. And I still don't think when you're 0-6 and you make a shot, you got to take your shirt off, though, do you?
No.
Come on. You got a whole, but you got a 400,000 to come back and play for the Gophers. In fact, you make a shot and you finally win one game. You don't have to take your shirt off. I don't think so. Not me.
Well, Monday we'll wrap up the semifinal games in the NFL.
Yes, we will, and maybe we can get more Norm and Uecker commentary. What a I didn't know till later on that he and maybe when Norm died that they were buddies, because I can see Norm going to talk to him, trying to get some inside information for his gambling or something,
Mm-hmm.
But what a pair of characters that would have been to deal with. The Norm Macdonald joke of the day is the greatest Twitter site there is, man. It was, he had another one. Well, Kenny, did you see the one the other day?
I did not, no.
A couple of days ago, he had one that was horribly, the guy who got crushed to death by the machine when he was in some factory because he got pulled in there holding his broom. And he said, they're going to have all these safety things. They're going to have all these safety things, including a big sign that says, if you're getting sucked into the machine with your broom, let go of the broom.
Hey, that column you wrote about Uecker, it got me wondering, the end of that column's pretty good, where he zinged you for your drinking.
Yes.
Did he ever have to, or did he give up drinking, or was it not a problem for him?
I don't think it was a huge problem.
All
Although, one night I come into Toronto, I'm a Twins beat writer, and that was back in the days of commercial flights. So the Brewers were still there, and we flew into Toronto, and at like 1 a.m, I get my key, and then there's a note in there. Go up to room such and such. It's from Gonry. So it's Ueck's room. I go up there. There was some untoward behavior taking place. I'll say that. That's all we'll go with. There had been some alcohol served to that crew, I'll tell you that.
That's always the worst, isn't it, when you're the last guy to arrive to a situation like that?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'd been on a flight with the Twins. I'd already had about 12 Tanquerays.
Looks like I'm going to have to call Royce when you guys hang up with him. So let's wrap this up so I can call Royce.
All right, I'll talk to you Monday.
All right.
Yeah.
See you.
Yeah.
Bye.
See you later.
God, today is Friday. TGTI Friday. It's the scramble!
Say, until I'm told otherwise, the fantastic Yamaha generator sale is still underway at EcoFun Motorsports in Forest Lake / Columbus. How about this? The quiet EF, that just means electric start capability and fuel efficient. The EF 2200, regular price of $13.99, on sale for $7.99. We might be beginning to live in the era of needing a generator. Those Yamaha generators have 3-year warranties. There's a wide variety of them. It's one of the most fun stores I've ever been in. It's the electric bike capital of the world. Youth recreational equipment, motorcycles, snowmobiles, helmets, apparel, service. You can't go wrong. Always the greatest prices at EcoFun. There also is an EcoFun in Burnsville on the Service Road of Life near County Road 42, and that brand new store that opened 2 summers ago in Forest Lake / Columbus, just west.
There you go.
West of the interstate on Highway 97. And a great website at ecofunmotorsports.com. Earlier in the show, I was lamenting how much damage to the earth climate change activists are doing. And we're now learning that the Michigan Department of Natural Resources is considering leasing 420 acres of state forest land to a solar developer near Gaylord, Michigan. The land abuts private property already slated by a 1,000-acre solar development. The company is already backing off their proposal. They're going to take down in northern Michigan. They would like to clear-cut forests to put up unreliable solar panels.
Definition of irony?
Yes, I'm looking up. I'm looking at the map. It's in Otsego County in very northern Michigan.
But it's beautiful.
And it is. It's lovely country. But these fanaticists are going to. They wish to destroy the forest to put up solar panels. I hope the people in Michigan fight back, and I hope they win. The climate change fruitcakes are doing too much to wreck the earth. They're not helping. They're not helping anything. You know what I'm saying?
420 acres, Joe.
Yeah.
That is a chunk.
I'm looking at the picture of it. It's all beautiful forest. I just don't. I can't take it.
Yeah, and aren't trees nature's cleansing? They're
Yes.
nature's air filter, basically.
That's right. Plus, I'm pro tree. I like a good tree.
You've been known to hug one or two.
No,
from
I've
time to
patted.
time.
I've patted a tree.
You have a little conversation with them, sweet nothings, and maybe a little squirrel hole.
Yeah.
And just another reminder of who the electorate keeps electing. This is from Jason Chavez's own. Would it be his own Twitter account?
Yes, sir.
At today's, and this is dated today. At today's Minneapolis City Council meeting, we awarded a $130,000 Great Streets loan to the May Day Cafe Workers Cooperative. This will assist in purchasing the May Day Cafe. They plan to purchase the building and transition the cafe to working ownership. This is exciting news for the Powderhorn neighborhood in South Minneapolis as a whole. Let's keep this in the hands of community while building power for workers. The guy is a completely committed Marxist. There's no reason a taxpayer should be on the hook to have to buy this cafe. If the owners want to buy the cafe, that's great. They got to figure out how to buy it. But they turn to the always willing government who aren't there for any other reason than to advance their own aspirational agendas for what the world should be like. And this Cesar Chavez character thinks it should be It should be, I don't know, Soviet Union about 1953.
Right.
But then you'll have a blue-haired whatever right to the search wondering why her property taxes went up again this year in Minneapolis.
The taxpayer should have no responsibility for this.
None.
I don't know what's wrong with you. I think that's a great idea. Go Minneapolis. Go Minneapolis.
You keep being you.
Yeah. Live it up. Cheers, Minneapolis.
We didn't do anything on this day. We did one thing.
Actually,
what is today?
What?
We have one, but go ahead.
Yeah, we have one.
I almost brought it up with Patrick.
What?
26 years ago, that damn Gary Anderson missed the field goal.
Oh, why do you do that to me?
On this day?
1999.
No, that should have made this day in history.
I thought that's why you looked at me.
Yeah, we didn't do anything. It was too cold.
We were going to be sitting on the Hubbard boat down in
Yeah, we were going to
Florida.
go to the Super Bowl.
Miami.
And our living quarters were going to be Hubbard's yacht.
Yeah, because there weren't any, you couldn't book any hotels.
Right.
Kenny, John?
Yes.
How much fun would that have been, living with Joe, Pat, and Rookie on the Hubbard yacht for 3 or 4 days?
Would have been pretty damn fun, I can tell you that.
Yeah.
Hey, which quarters do I get?
What year was that?
99.
Yeah.
Can I get some more paper?
So it was 26 years?
Yes, sir. We're out of. I need another roll.
Can I tell you this?
Tell the servants I need a turn down the bed.
Only because they come to us.
Servants?
Yes.
There weren't any. There aren't any on the boat.
Where are all the servants? This is a yacht.
I think it was parked at Pier 66.
I don't remember. I just remember how bummed out I was when I saw that thing go.
You didn't care the Vikes lost. You cared that you didn't get to stay on the.
I would have just
that
sat
outranked,
up.
yes.
I would have just sat up on the bridge and just sat there and looked out.
Oh, you would have had a captain's
at the controls
suit on.
and all that.
What can we go over there?
I'd have a hat with a steering wheel.
I know you would. I know you would have. You would have drove him nuts.
Hoi polloi.
Yeah.
Oh, I bet good food too.
Where did you say it was parked, Joe? What was it
I
called?
thought it was Pier 66. Isn't that where John D. McDonald kept the busted flush? You don't know what that is, do
I
you?
don't.
Yes.
I do.
I know you do, John, but you know how to read.
Shepherd McDonald.
It was mean, wasn't
That
it?
was
Chris?
me.
He had a didn't he have a farm?
Old McDonald?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What else did he have? He had a cow.
On that farm, he had a cow.
Oh, God.
Only because they come to us all the way from Lake Las Vegas in the traveling Lymans. It was on this day.
Joe, today is Jan 17th.
The one and only thing that made on this day.
Who was it, Faribault or Fort Snelling or Sibley?
On this day,
Jan 17.
in 1934, Edward G. Bremer, a banker, was kidnapped at the corner of Goodrich and Lexington in St. Paul.
Mm-hmm.
On Feb 7, after his family paid a $200,000 ransom, Bremer was freed in Rochester. Bremer's remarkable memory led investigators to the kidnappers, the Barker Karpus gang. Police caught or killed all of the gang members by 1936.
And they always said Ma Barker was the brains behind the operation. She was an inbred idiot with no brains. It was Alvin Karpus who was the brains.
The apartments there at Goodrich and Lexington still exist, and that was quite known to a generation of St. Paulites who are now no longer with us. But,
as was the Bremer houses, right there.
Yeah.
I mean, you drive by it every day.
And there's been an ongoing feud about the Bremer Bank Trust, and they're still in the news.
Yeah, they are. They're fighting.
But see, 1934, my old man would have been
in town.
Is 7 and 3. He would have been 24. He knew of this quite well. No, would he have been? He was born in 1917. How old would he have been?
You tell me.
17, right? 17.
Yeah, you only would have been 17, not 30, not 24. You would have
They
been
really
17.
blew it. They really blew it. They had it so easy here, and then they got lazy and started doing crimes right in St. Paul.
In fact, the old man where he grew up wasn't far from there.
Where did he go to high school?
Central.
Oh, he did?
Yeah. But his dad went to Cretan. Figure that out.
I can't figure that out. What was his dad's name?
Henry.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, when was your dad born?
1917, same as JFK.
Karpus was born in 07.
Huh.
The $200,000 is today $4.7 million.
It was a lot of money.
Big ransom to pay back, doesn't it?
A lot of money.
Hard to blend in.
Cow.
I think shots were exchanged at the corner of Goodrich and Lexington. The whole deal. It was quite exciting.
Yeah. I exchanged a lot of shots at the Lexington.
Homer Van Meter, I believe. Homer
I had
Van
my own
Meter.
glass for a while.
He was shot down
Let
where
me
that
plug this
Sears.
back in.
Oh, no wonder he's talking.
All right.
Are you listening now?
Yeah.
Homer Van Meter was shot down where that Sears building was, down by the Capitol.
Okay.
Down by Marion?
Yeah.
The Barker gang lived for a time in Matamidi.
Yeah.
I can still show you the house.
Dillinger lived in Uptown for a few minutes.
Yeah. And they all, you had them all around.
You know, they don't make them like they used to.
No, it's nothing like that. No.
There was there was a group of fans, the Barker's Beauties, weren't they? Part of that group.
Barker's Beauty.
Thank you,
You
GLers.
could get it if the price was right.
That was fun while it lasted.
Yeah, they turned it into their
show is definitely over.
You can't do that because it's
Fun
just
Friday.
no. There is no such.
Come on
thing.
back to the airport.
There's no such thing.
Come work for the rookie. We're hiring. You want to come and work?
Nobody kills the show better than you guys.
Thanks, Kenny.
Please do us a favor and rate and what am I talking about? Subscribe to the Garage Logic YouTube channel.
Smash that like button.
Congratulations to Bernadette.
Our first ever GLer of the week was announced at the beginning of the show today. And you could become the next GLer of the week. All you got to do, upgrade your town council membership to an annual TC membership, and you are eligible to become the Garage Logic GLer of the week.
You know who you are.
Yep. Follow us on social as well, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
GLer of the week, Bernadette. Yeah. Hey.
Yep.
You got her.
Yep.
Bernadette Halverson
That's
of New
what I was
Hope.
going to say. Hello.
That's something you'd hear in Ontonagon, Michigan. Hey, Wilbur Streeforth, the listener of the week.
All right, Herb.
All right, Herb.
Oh.
What's happening here?
There's something happening here.
Who's printing?
I'm scanning something. Timesheet. Timesheet.
Oh, God. Ready, Reavers?
Not quite. Just
Joe?
give me about 30
What?
seconds.
Chris.